I'll never forget the moment I placed that positive pregnancy test on our bathroom counter. It was supposed to be the happiest surprise of our marriage. We'd been trying for months. My husband Marcus had said he wanted a baby more than anything. But when he walked out of that bathroom 10 minutes later, his face wasn't excited. It wasn't surprised. It was terrified. And the words that came out of his mouth, they shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. But before I tell you what he said, I need to take you back 6 months, because this story doesn't start with a pregnancy test. It starts with a phone call I should have questioned. Before we continue, please leave me a comment telling me which state or city you're watching from. I love seeing where my stories reach. And don't forget to like and subscribe so I can keep sharing these real-life stories with you. 6 months ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. I'm 33 years old, married to my college sweetheart Marcus for 5 years, living in a beautiful 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. We had the white picket fence, the 2-car garage, the whole American dream package. Marcus worked in finance. Long hours, but excellent money. I was a freelance graphic designer, working from home, which gave us flexibility. We'd been talking about starting a family for 2 years. Soon, Marcus would always say, when the timing is right, when we're financially stable. That particular morning began like any other. I woke up at 6 a.m., made coffee, prepared Marcus's breakfast. By 7 a.m., he came downstairs in his perfectly pressed suit, kissed me on the forehead, grabbed his briefcase, and headed out the door. "Love you, babe," he called out as he left. "Love you too," I replied, watching him drive away. I spent my morning the way I always did. Client work, household chores, meal planning. Our routine was comfortable, predictable, safe. But looking back now, I realize comfort was all we had left. The passion had faded. The deep conversations had stopped. We'd become roommates who shared a bed but lived separate lives. I just didn't see it yet. At 11 a.m., I was working on a logo design when Marcus's phone rang in the other room. He'd forgotten it on the kitchen counter. Marcus never forgot his phone. It was like a part of his body. I walked over to grab it, planning to text him that he'd left it. But when I saw the screen, my blood ran cold. The caller ID said Mike-Jim. But the contact photo? It wasn't a man. It was a woman. Blonde, maybe 25 years old, wearing a tight dress and smiling at the camera. My heart started racing. I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe Mike's girlfriend borrowed his phone. Maybe Marcus saved the contact wrong? The call went to voicemail. Then a text came through. The preview lit up the locked screen. "Baby, last night wasn't enough. When can I see you again? I'm already missing you." I froze. My hands started shaking. The house was silent except for the pounding in my chest. I should have confronted him immediately. Called him. Demanded answers. But I didn't. You want to know why? Because I was terrified. Terrified that if I asked, my perfect life would crumble. Terrified that my suspicions would be confirmed. So I did what a lot of women do in that moment. I made excuses for him in my mind. It's probably nothing. It's probably innocent. I'm overreacting. But that night, I couldn't sleep. While Marcus snored peacefully beside me, I stared at the ceiling, replaying that text message over and over. Last night wasn't enough. Last night, Marcus told me he had a business dinner that ran until midnight. He came home at 12:30 a.m., kissed me on the cheek while I pretended to be asleep, and went straight to the shower. At 2 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my phone and opened our credit card app. My hands were trembling as I scrolled through recent charges, and there it was. Last night, 10:47 p.m., the Hamilton Hotel, downtown, $428 charged to our joint card. Not a restaurant, a hotel room. I need to pause here and ask you something. Have you ever had that moment where your whole world shifts? Where everything you thought was true suddenly becomes a lie? If you've been there, drop a comment. Let me know I'm not alone in this. I didn't confront Marcus the next morning. I couldn't. Not yet. Because a part of me, a stupid, desperate part, still wanted to believe there was another explanation. So instead, I started investigating. I went through our credit card statements for the past 6 months. My stomach turned with every page. 3 months ago, the Hamilton Hotel, $392. 5 months ago, the Riverside Inn, $310. 6 months ago. The Hamilton again. $445. Hotel charges. Expensive dinners at romantic restaurants I'd never been to. Charges for jewelry from stores I'd never shopped at. Marcus had been living a double life for at least 6 months, maybe longer. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw his clothes out the window and set them on fire. But instead, I went to my laptop and did something I never thought I'd do. I ordered a GPS tracker online. $49.99, 2-day shipping. When it arrived, I waited until Marcus left for work, then went out to his car in the driveway. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely install it. I tucked it under the driver's seat, hidden where he'd never think to look. For the next 2 weeks, I tracked his every movement. Monday, he said he had a late meeting. The GPS showed his car parked at the Hamilton Hotel from 7 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Wednesday, gym night with Mike. His car was at Bella Rosa, an upscale Italian restaurant, for 3 hours. Friday, our date night. He actually showed up. We went to dinner at our usual spot. He held my hand across the table. Told me he loved me. Kissed me goodnight. I smiled. Said it back. Felt absolutely nothing, because I knew the truth now. The following Tuesday, I did something even crazier. I followed him. I called in sick to a client meeting, put on sunglasses and a baseball cap, and parked 3 blocks from his office building. I felt insane, like a character in a bad movie. At 11:30 a.m., Marcus walked out of his building. But he didn't get in his car. He walked 2 blocks to a coffee shop, and then she appeared. Blonde, mid-20s, tight jeans, leather jacket, perfect makeup, gorgeous. Marcus smiled when he saw her. She smiled back, and then he kissed her. Right there on the street corner, not a quick peck. A real kiss, the kind of kiss he used to give me. I took photos. My vision was blurry with tears, but I got them. Clear shots. His face. Her face. The kiss. His hand on her lower back as they walked into the coffee shop together. I drove home in a daze. I don't even remember the drive. When I got home, I walked straight to our bedroom, locked the door, and collapsed on the floor. I sobbed. Ugly. Loud. Painful sobs. That came from somewhere deep in my chest. How long had this been going on? Did he love her? Was he planning to leave me? Did our marriage mean anything to him at all? Okay, I need you guys to weigh in here. Was I wrong for tracking him, for following him, or was I just protecting myself? Drop your honest opinion in the comments. I can handle it. After crying for an hour, something inside me shifted. The sadness turned into something else. Something sharper. Rage. I got up, washed my face, and looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. My eyes were red and swollen, but there was a new determination there. I wasn't going to be the broken, betrayed wife anymore. I was going to be smart, strategic, and I was going to make sure Marcus regretted ever thinking he could do this to me. I called a divorce lawyer the next day. Her name was Patricia Chen. She had a small practice but stellar reviews. When I walked into her office and told her my story, she listened without interrupting. "Here's what you need to know," Patricia said, leaning forward. "In this state, infidelity doesn't directly affect divorce settlements, but financial misconduct does. Those hotel charges on your joint card, that matters." "How much does it matter?" I asked. "Enough that you could walk away with significantly more than 50-50. Especially if we can prove a pattern. Especially if there are any hidden accounts or assets." I showed her everything. The credit card statements. The GPS logs. The photos of him kissing her. Patricia smiled. Not a happy smile. A satisfied one. "You've built a hell of a case," she said. "But before we file, I need you to do something." "What?" "Make sure there's nothing else he's hiding. Check everything. Bank accounts, emails if you can access them, storage units. Because once we file, he'll lock everything down. You get one shot." So I went deeper. That night, while Marcus was in the shower, I grabbed his laptop from his home office. He usually kept it password protected. But I knew his passwords. He used the same one for everything. Our wedding date. The irony wasn't lost on me. I opened his email, and what I found made the affair seem like nothing. There were hundreds of emails, going back 18 months, not just with one woman. With multiple women. Someone named Jessica. They'd hooked up 7 times over 4 months last year. Someone named Amber. A weekend getaway when Marcus told me he was at a finance conference in Miami. The emails were explicit. Disgusting. And then there was her. The blonde from the coffee shop. Her name was Sienna. The emails with Sienna were different. These weren't just hookup arrangements. These were love letters. I think I'm falling for you, he wrote. You make me feel alive in ways I haven't felt in years, he wrote. Sometimes I imagine what our life would be like together, just you and me, starting fresh. I wanted to vomit, but I didn't. I forwarded every single email to my personal account. Then I kept digging. And that's when I found the bank account. A separate checking account I didn't know existed, under Marcus's name only, with $67,000 in it. I clicked through the transaction history. Regular deposits from his paycheck. Money that should have been going into our joint account for our mortgage, our bills, our future. He'd been hiding money for over a year. There were also charges to jewelry stores, expensive restaurants I'd never been to, flowers sent to addresses I didn't recognize, hotel rooms, weekend trips. Marcus was building an entire separate life. With my money, with RUR money. I sat there in his office chair, staring at the screen, and I realized something profound. I didn't love him anymore. I don't know exactly when it happened. Maybe when I saw him kiss her. Maybe when I read those emails. Maybe when I discovered he'd been stealing from our future. But sitting there, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal, I felt nothing. No love, no pain, just cold, calculated fury. And that's when the idea came to me. The pregnancy test. Quick question for everyone watching. And be honest. Do you think what I'm about to do is wrong? Or is he getting exactly what he deserves? Let me know in the comments while I tell you about my plan. I remembered a conversation Marcus and I had about 8 months ago, back when I still believed we had a future together. We were talking about starting a family, like we did every few months, and Marcus had said something very specific. I want to make absolutely sure we're financially ready before we have kids. I think we should have at least $100,000 saved up before we even try. I don't want to bring a child into an unstable situation. At the time, I thought it was responsible. Mature. Now I understood the truth. He didn't want kids with me. He was saving that money for his future, probably with Sienna. So I ordered a fake positive pregnancy test online. They actually sell these things on Amazon, $24.99. Looks completely utterly real. My plan was brilliant in its simplicity. Cruel maybe, but brilliant. I was going to leave the test where Marcus would find it. I was going to watch his reaction. And whatever he said or did would be the final piece of evidence I needed before filing for divorce. If he was excited, if by some miracle I was wrong about everything, maybe we could still work it out. But I knew better. I knew exactly what he was going to do. The day I set the trap was a Thursday. Marcus had told me he'd be home by 6 p.m. for once. No late meetings, no client dinners, I promise. I spent the whole day preparing. Not just the pregnancy test, but hidden cameras too. I bought 2 tiny spy cameras on Amazon. One I positioned on our bedroom bookshelf, angled toward the bathroom door. The other, I hid in the bathroom itself, tucked inside a decorative basket on the counter. I felt insane doing this, but I also felt powerful. For the first time in months, I was controlling the narrative. At 5:45 p.m., I placed the positive pregnancy test on the bathroom counter, right next to the sink where Marcus would definitely see it. I left it lying flat, the word pregnant clearly visible in the result window. I even left the box next to it, the one that said congratulations on the front. Then I went downstairs and started cooking dinner. Chicken parmesan. His favorite. Marcus arrived home at 6:20 p.m., 20 minutes late, as usual. "Hey babe," he called out cheerfully. "Something smells amazing." I forced a smile. "Just making your favorite." "You're the best," he said, kissing me quickly on the cheek. That kiss felt like poison on my skin. "I'm going to run upstairs and change out of this suit," he said. "Take your time," I replied calmly. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I pretended to stir the sauce while pulling out my phone. I'd connected it to the hidden cameras. I could watch the live feed from downstairs. I heard Marcus's footsteps go up the stairs. I heard our bedroom door open. Then silence. Then I heard the bathroom door open. More silence. Maybe 15 seconds. And then, what the fuck? His voice wasn't excited. It wasn't surprised in a happy way. It was panicked, furious even. I pulled up the camera feed on my phone. My hands were shaking. Marcus was standing in the bathroom, holding the pregnancy test, his face completely drained of color. His hands were trembling. He immediately pulled out his phone and started typing frantically. Fast, desperate typing. I couldn't see the screen, but I could see his expression. He looked absolutely terrified. He typed for maybe 30 seconds, then hit send. Then he stood there, staring at his phone, waiting for a response. After a moment, his phone buzzed. He read whatever message came back, his jaw clenched. He looked like he might throw the pregnancy test against the wall, but he didn't. Instead, he took a deep breath, composed himself, and quietly placed the test back on the counter. Then he walked out of the bathroom, leaving it exactly where he found it. I quickly closed the camera app and went back to stirring the sauce. Marcus came downstairs a few minutes later, his face carefully neutral. "Hey," he said, his voice strained. "I'm actually not feeling great. I think I might be coming down with something." I turned around slowly. "Really? You seemed fine a minute ago." "Yeah, it just hit me suddenly. I think I need to lie down. Maybe skip dinner." He was lying, the same way he'd lied about business dinners, about Mike from the gym, about everything. "Marcus," I said calmly, turning off the stove. "Did you go upstairs to the bathroom?" His face twitched. Yeah. Why? Did you see anything interesting in there?" He blinked rapidly. "What are you talking about?" I wiped my hands on a dish towel and looked him directly in the eyes. "I left something on the bathroom counter. I'm wondering if you noticed it." For a moment, he looked like he might continue lying. I could see him calculating, trying to decide whether to come clean or double down. Then his shoulders slumped slightly. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "Oh, now we need to talk." My voice was sharper than I intended. "That's interesting. Because I've wanted to talk for months, Marcus. But you've been too busy with business dinners and gym sessions with Mike." His eyes widened. "What?" "Sit down." He sat at the kitchen table. I remained standing, power position. "That pregnancy test is fake," I said flatly. "I bought it online." I wanted to see how you'd react. The relief that flooded his face was instant, and that told me absolutely everything I needed to know. "Okay, everyone, this is the moment. What would you have done? Confronted him immediately, or kept playing detective? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear from you. Why would you do something like that?" Marcus asked, anger creeping into his voice now that the panic had subsided. "Because I know about Sienna." The color drained from his face again. "I know about the Hamilton Hotel. I know about Bella Rosa. I know about the $67,000 bank account. I know about Jessica and Amber. I know everything, Marcus." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. "How long have you known?" he finally whispered. "Long enough. Long enough to hire a lawyer. Long enough to document everything. Long enough to realize that the man I married doesn't exist anymore, if he ever did." Then came the excuses. "Oh God, the excuses. It's not what you think," he started. I actually laughed. "Please don't insult my intelligence with that line. Sienna and I, we're just friends. It got out of hand, but you told her you were falling in love with her." I was confused. "For 18 months? Look, I've been going through something. And Jessica? And Amber? Were you going through something with them too?" He buried his face in his hands. "I don't know what's wrong with me." "I do," I said coldly. "You're selfish. You're a liar. And you're about to be divorced." He looked up at me. And suddenly, his whole demeanor changed. The guilt vanished. Now there was only anger. "You know what? Fine. You want the truth. Here's the truth. I haven't been happy in years. You're boring. Our life is boring. Everything about us is predictable and suffocating. Each word felt like a slap, but I didn't flinch. Sienna makes me feel alive. She's exciting. She doesn't nag me about laundry or spending too much time at work. She actually wants to be with me. She makes me feel like a man again. Does she know you're married? I asked calmly. He paused. Not exactly. So you lied to her too. Impressive consistency, Marcus. Look. I was going to tell you eventually. I was planning to. To what? To leave me after you'd hidden enough money? After you'd destroyed my self-esteem enough that I wouldn't fight back? He said nothing. Here's what's going to happen, I said, pulling out my phone. I'm going to send you an email right now. You're going to read every word, then we're going to discuss next steps. I hit send on the email I'd prepared days ago with Patricia's help. It contained everything. Every hotel receipt. Screenshots of every email with Sienna, Jessica, and Amber. Bank statements showing the hidden account. GPS tracking logs from the past 2 weeks. The photos of him kissing Sienna. A draft divorce agreement. His phone dinged. He opened it. I watched every emotion cross his face. Shock. Horror. Rage. Fear. You've been spying on me? He shouted. Standing up so fast his chair fell backward. You've been cheating on me, I shouted back. Don't you dare try to make me the villain here. This is illegal. You can't just track someone without their... Actually, I can. The car is in both our names. The credit cards are joint. And Pennsylvania is a one-party consent state for recording. My lawyer made sure I knew that before I started. Marcus stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Who are you? He whispered. I'm the woman who's done being your doormat. That night was the longest of my life. Marcus didn't leave the house. Where would he go? But he moved into our guest room. I could hear him pacing back and forth until 4 a.m. I lay in our bed, my bed now, feeling strangely calm. I'd done it. I'd confronted him. I'd taken control. The next morning, Marcus tried a different approach. He appeared in the bedroom doorway at 7 a.m. with coffee and flowers. I'm so sorry, he said, his voice cracking. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I'll end things with Sienna. I'll go to therapy. I'll transfer all the money back. We can start over, please. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing but disgust. No, please babe, I love you. I made mistakes, but I can change. You don't love me, you love stability. You love having someone to come home to while you live your secret life. But you don't love me. That's not true. Marcus, when you saw that pregnancy test yesterday, you didn't call me. You didn't come downstairs excited. You texted Sienna in a panic because a baby would ruin your plans. That told me everything I need to know. His face crumpled. He started crying. Actual tears. I can change. I swear I can change. I don't want you to change. I want you gone. Before we get to what happened next, I want to know, would you have given him a second chance? Could you forgive someone after this? Let me know in the comments. There's no wrong answer here. The divorce process took 4 months. It was brutal. Marcus hired an expensive lawyer who tried every trick in the book. They argued I'd violated his privacy. They tried to claim I'd been emotionally abusive. They even tried to say the evidence was inadmissible. But Patricia destroyed every argument. The affair was undeniable. The financial misconduct was documented. And the fact that he'd used marital funds for his affairs, that sealed the deal. In the end, I got the house with his name removed from the deed. I got 70% of our joint savings. I got all of the $67,000 from his hidden account. I got 3 years of alimony, and he had to pay my legal fees. But the best part? The thing that gave me the most satisfaction? What happened with Sienna? Remember, she didn't know Marcus was married. He told her he was separated and going through a divorce. I found her Instagram. I sent her a DM with 3 photos. Our wedding photo, a recent picture of Marcus and me from a friend's party 2 months ago, a screenshot of our joint bank account showing we lived at the same address. She replied within 10 minutes. What? Are you serious? We ended up talking on the phone for an hour. Sienna was 26, fresh out of grad school, working at Marcus's firm as a junior analyst. He'd been her mentor. She was devastated and furious. He told me you were basically roommates. she said, crying. He said you hadn't touched each other in years. He said he was just waiting for the right time to leave. He lied to both of us, I told her. 2 days later, Sienna reported their relationship to HR. Inappropriate relationship with a subordinate. Violation of company ethics policy. Marcus got fired, lost his job, lost his savings, lost me, lost Sienna. It's been 4 months since the divorce was finalized. And you know what? I'm better than okay. I'm thriving. I redecorated the entire house. Got rid of everything that reminded me of Marcus. New furniture, new paint colors. I turned his home office into my art studio. I started painting again. Something I'd given up years ago because Marcus said it was impractical and took up too much space. I'm dating again. Nothing serious yet. Just coffee dates. Remembering what it feels like to be seen, to be valued. Last week, Marcus texted me. After 4 months of silence, he had the audacity to reach out. I miss you. I made a huge mistake. Can we talk? I stared at that message for exactly 30 seconds. Then I screenshotted it, sent it to my group chat with the caption "The Audacity," and blocked his number. Because here's what I finally learned. You can't heal in the same place that made you sick. Marcus was my sickness. And I'm finally healthy. To the woman watching this at 2 a.m. wondering if she's crazy for suspecting her partner is cheating. You're not crazy. Trust your gut. To the woman staying because she's scared to start over. I was terrified too. But starting over was the best decision I ever made. To the woman who thinks she's too invested to leave, you're not. You're just at the beginning of your best chapter. Thank you for being here with me for the last hour, for listening to my story. Drop a heart in the comments if you made it to the end. Tell me your city. Tell me your story if you're comfortable sharing. Until next time, you deserve to be someone's priority, not their secret. Stay strong, stay smart, and never ever settle for less than you deserve.